We are getting closer to November 5, the US presidential election, and expect a lot more twists and turns in the months into the lead up. Forget the October surprise. It seems we have a surprise almost daily at the moment. Joining me now is former White House Chief of Staff and now Fortnite Partners consultant Mick Mulvaney. Mick, great to see you. We're going to talk about JD Vance. He's managed to create a new voting faction, the childless cat ladies there in the US, who are really pushing back. He hasn't got off to the greatest start. There is some talk about whether, Donald Trump would replace him in the coming months if he doesn't pull up his socks. What do you think?
Laura, it has been a difficult start for JD Vance as Donald Trump's vice presidential nominee. That being said, this is not at all unusual in this country. Anytime a candidate moves from a congressional seat to governor's seat to Senate seat to the national stage, they often have a rough go of it. We call it their time in the barrel, sort of shooting fish in the barrel and so forth. And JD's had a rough couple of days. There's no question about it. There is some discussion here in Washington, D.C. about replacing him. I don't put any credence in it as of yet. I know what Donald Trump starts to talk about when he starts to think about replacing people. I've been replaced by him. And I haven't heard that sort of talk coming out of the Trump camp yet. They're still very pleased with him. They'll still move forward with him now. Look, ordinarily you'd say it would never happen, but in this particular election cycle, literally anything is possible. So certainly you can't discount the possibility of Trump trying to make a change later in the race. But right now, I think it's mostly media speculation, and JD is safe in the job.
What happened when you were replaced as Chief of Staff? Does Donald Trump have a certain MO? Does he do it himself?
This is how it works. Let's say that James Morrow, my friend on the U.S. Report, is being considered for a job, and I'm Donald Trump. Laura, what do you think about James? What have you heard about James? What about James? If he doesn't work for Trump already, that means Trump is asking those questions. That means that Trump is thinking about hiring him. However, if James already works for Donald Trump and he comes to you and says, Laura, what do you think about James? That means that Donald Trump is thinking of firing him. That's just how it works. And I haven't heard Donald Trump start to ask these questions of anybody yet as to what they think about JD Vance. Until he starts asking those questions, I think JD is safe.
Okay, that is good to know, and that will one we can keep in the back pocket for when that time may come. What about the landscape at the moment? Kamala has really changed the rules of engagement, even though, everyone talked about Joe Biden stepping aside and not running for a second term. When that actually happens, you need to be quite agile. I think there's been a little bit of flat-footedness from the Trump camp, and with the pick of JD Vance, it seems to have, highlighted some of those issues that Kamala sees as a strength. I also think, the Trump and the right mocking Kamala's laugh has seen this rise of the term brat, and she's embodying that. It seems to engage younger voters, particularly women. It's a sugar hit at the moment, but can that sugar hit maintain her until November?
It can. I think it's going to be a difficult thing for her to do. Look, the Democrats here have had a great week or so. Ever since Joe Biden dropped out of the race, they've rallied behind Kamala Harris. Very few people, even in Democrat circles, thought they would be able to do that. Everybody here in Washington, D.C. was looking forward to the upcoming Democrat National Convention in Chicago with sort of this anticipation of what a tremendously awful thing it was going to be, all the civil war within the Democrat Party. Republicans especially were salivating at the chance of watching the Democrats fight with each other. And it's simply not going to happen. I think the Democrats have surprised a lot of folks, including themselves, at how quickly they've been able to come behind Kamala Harris as their candidate. And there's always that little sugar high. And by the way, you use the exact right words. It's axiomatic in American politics, however, that you are never more popular than you are on the day you announce your race. Keep in mind, 2019, Kamala Harris announced she was running for president of the United States at the time. She had a tremendous grand opening in Oakland, California. 20,000 people came out. I was impressed. In fact, I wrote about it at the time. A couple of weeks later, she was out of the race. In fact, she dropped out of the 2020 race before the Iowa caucuses. Coming out strong is easy. Maintaining that momentum is really hard, and we'll be curious to see if she can do it. Again, you can't have a great entire race until you've had a great beginning, and she's had a great beginning, but it's going to be very difficult to maintain.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of rolling of the eyes about Kamala and her electability before she was actually announced. But I've been surprised about her performance, and I think there are a lot more Democrats in particular are starting to believe that she might actually be able to win this thing. What do you think?
She can absolutely win. There's no question. Look, Donald Trump 2 weeks ago was an 80-20 favorite. Now he's probably a 52-48 kind of favorite. Kamala Harris, let's be, can absolutely win this race. There's no question. Trump, I still think, is a slight favorite. But you have to understand that she's not very well known yet. I saw polling data today from our mutual friend Frank Luntz. It says 70% of Democrat voters can't name a single thing that she has accomplished while vice president. She is an unknown. That might not be the kiss of death in this particular race, but it's still going to be something she has to overcome. It also opens up the opportunity for the Trump campaign to define her negatively. This is going to be something strange, LJ, in American politics, a true sprint to the presidency. Ordinarily, it's a marathon. Ordinarily, both parties know their candidates by April or May. This is going to be a 99-day sprint to the finish, unlike anything we've ever seen.